just threw a lot of bombs at you all at once, but we're at the gym now, so get ready. I gotta find a fucking spot. Oh my god, it's a zoo. Anyway, on chest day, I'll do a few things. I'm gonna start off with a bench press of some sort. I'll alternate between doing a flat bench or an incline bench at like 40 degrees. And then after that, if I started with incline bench, I'm going to do just a regular chest fly on the chest fly machine. If I started on flat bench, I'm going to do a chest fly with one emphasizing my upper chest instead. And then after that, I'm either going to do dips or I'm going to do another chest fly emphasizing my lower chest. And then after that, I'm going to do a shoulder press. And then I'm going to do lateral raises for your side delts, your deltoids, your shoulders. And then I'm going to do triceps, baby. I think that's everything, but you'll see here in a minute. All right, let's fucking get it.
Today is bench press. Now this is a flat bench press. I fucked up putting my dumbbell up there. So what I'm doing here is I'm preparing for my set mentally. I picked up my dumbbells, which made my heart rate go up, and I cut out a little bit of my weighting, but I'm sitting here waiting for my heart rate to recover so that I can push myself completely when I start the set. Now, when I start, you're going to notice a few things. I am kicking the weights down with my legs, putting them into place. And if you look here, I'm holding my arms not at a 90-degree angle with my body, but more like a 60-degree angle. Now this is to protect your shoulders. And then I start pressing up with my chest. Here's a few angles for you, so you can check that out. Notice how the dumbbells are always in line. Even if one arm feels stronger, I'm gonna restrict that arm so that it falls at the exact same time as the other arm. And when I'm going back, when I'm laying down, I'm pushing my shoulders back. I'm squeezing with my core, I'm holding a breath into my chest and stomach, and I'm also using that to reinforce my back, and I'm driving with my legs. If you're noticing, my mid-back is off the ground. You have 3 points of contact, really. Your shoulders, your butt, and your legs on the ground, and that is your driving force. Now, if you noticed there, I looked left and right to make sure that the ground was clear. That's just to make sure I don't break my fingers when I drop the weights if there's something there like a water bottle. You should probably check that first, but I usually wait. Next up, we have the lower chest exercise. Now, I usually do it this way, but when I recorded it afterwards, I noticed that the lighting was shit. So I decided to, instead of doing these lower chest flies, switch to a form of dips, which works the same exact way. When you do dips like this, it works your triceps and it works your lower chest. Now the important thing is to put your legs back as much as you can so that you're working your chest and you're not going straight up. So if you notice, my chest is at a little bit of an angle, and that makes it so I can hit lower chest while I'm doing this. And I only got a few because I was super tired from doing the other ones earlier. So now we've hit the mid chest, the lower chest, and now we are switching straight to the upper chest with these upper chest flies. So you put the weight down and you swing them up in a, not necessarily a line, but you're doing it in like a parabolic shape with each arm coming straight up to the center of your vision. I like to do a thing where I cross my arms at the top. You can't really tell because it's cut off by the recording, but I'll make a little X with my hands and I'll swap which hand is closer to my face each time. But this is how you get the upper chest. So if I'm doing a day where I'm doing regular flat bench press, I need to do this. If I'm doing a day where I'm doing incline bench press first, then I'm going to do regular chest flies, and I'm going to do the lower chest that you saw before with those two exercises. And because today is a flat chest day, I gotta get the upper chest. So just like that, you can see a little bit better on this one that I'm making that X, just to get that little bit more movement. Really squeeze as hard as you can at the top. If you can't do them with both hands, do what I'm doing here, where you go one hand at a time, then you can feel it a little bit better. And then next up, we have a form of shoulder press. I really like this machine because it just feels really good and it's super easy to drop set on. So when you're pressing with your shoulders, it's important to drive through the palm of your hands. When you're holding your hand like I am right here, you're gonna notice at some points I take my fingers off because I'm literally just holding it with my palms. Now the reason for that is when you're doing any kind of pressing motion, you need to make sure the weight is in line of your wrist, so the weight is being distributed down the weight of your wrist. If you put the weights or these handles too far back, closer to your fingers, then that weight is not going to be in line with your wrist, and it's going to be much harder to press. I'll show you here at the end what I'm talking about. But basically what I'm doing here is I'm just drop setting the fuck out of this weight. I'm going down as low as I can, maybe even lower than I really need to, just so I can get that extra stretch in there. And really just push yourself to do as many of these as you can. Once again, when you're doing these, you're bracing with your core. Now here, I'm going to show my hands, what I'm talking about earlier. So look, if that's where it is on your palm, then the weight's going to be distributed down your wrist. If that's where your weight is on your hands, then it's going to be distributed not down your wrist, so it's going to be much harder to press the weight. Next up, we have a form of lateral raises. I like to do these cable ones. Now the reason that the cable is so high up is because right here, you're going to notice that I've accidentally put it too low. So at the point where your arm and the line make a right angle, that's going to be the point where it's most difficult. So you want that point to be as close to the bottom as possible, because the bottom is where your muscle is going to be the most stretched. So I'll usually do a set where I can only get like 8 of these, maybe 6, and then I'll drop set the fuck out of these. And you need to really, really, really feel the burn. It's really easy to accidentally activate your traps when you're doing these, but you really need to emphasize your deltoids, your shoulders. You can see drop sets, drop sets, drop sets, like always. And once you're not able to do anymore, you do those little partial reps where you're not getting all the way up. And then here's a little back view if you really care. And then next up, we are finishing with triceps. Now on triceps, I like to do this thing where I start with just the bar and I do really heavy weight, just to get my triceps like warmed up and kind of burnt out. And then once I do this, I'll switch to single arm. But when you're doing these, it's the same thing as doing bicep curls, where you want to squeeze the part of your arm above your elbow as hard as you can against your body. And you're pretty much only moving that lower part of your elbow down when you're doing these, so you're not cheating, because it's really easy while you're doing these to make the top portion of your arm move forward. But if you notice, I'm mostly locking it against my body. Maybe at the top I get that little bit of stretch up. But yeah, here I switch to the single arms, and I'm doing these as many as I can, and then I switch to the other arm. I'm actually going to speed it up here because you can't really see much. But you're going to notice I bend forward a little bit, and that's just to keep the cable in line with my body at the same angle, to keep that level of difficulty and keep it so it's difficult the entire time rather than just at the beginning. But yeah, triceps, super explanatory, self-explanatory. Triceps are where most of the volume in your arms actually come from, so if you want big arms, you gotta grind out some triceps, man. Because triceps, I believe, make up 2/3 of your arm over just 1/3 being biceps. Plus there's more room for your triceps to grow, so when you flex in the mirror, you see more. And then last exercise is a little ab exercise I do on chest day. This is mostly to get your obliques, and the obliques are what give you that like defined, almost Dorito thing on your stomach that go down to your private area, as well as this can give you those like fish gill abs you see on the sides of really, really fit people. I'll do these pretty much every single chest day. On back day, I will do a cable weighted mid-core exercise. But these are really, really important if you want to get defined obliques that just jut out and look awesome. I started doing these recently, and I noticed a lot of growth in my oblique area because of these, and I would highly recommend doing them. Now that first weight you saw was a 70, and that orange is a 40-pound kettlebell. You can also use like a 45 plate for this. I see people doing that a lot. But the important thing on this is notice where my hand is on my stomach. I'm holding that spot so I know where to pull, basically. It's like the mind muscle connection where you're touching that muscle. So I'm going down here, and then I come up and I bend a little bit extra. Now that little extra part is really, really important because that's where you can feel that muscle working the most. A lot of people do this wrong, so it's really, really important to get that mind muscle connection to feel it.